Welcome back to another episode of Just a Tip, where we say the shit that everyone's thinking but nobody's saying. In this episode, we sit down with Mathieu Massa, a visionary who helped turn Miami's nightlife into a full-blown luxury arms race. From the south of France to Miami Beach, Mathieu didn't just open restaurants, he built experiences. We're talking Vita, Marion, El Tucan, Bayali, Lafayette, Queen, places that aren't just dinner spots, they're productions. Real estate strategy, VIP psychology, theatrical hospitality, the whole thing. We get into how luxury actually works behind the scenes. And we're not just talking the bottle parade Instagram version. This is real systems, team culture, the emotional intelligence, and the pressure of running high-end venues in one of the most competitive markets in the world. We talk COVID pivots, ownership versus leasing, protecting your peace of mind in a city that never stops, and why creating something memorable matters more than just being expensive. This one's about vision, ego control, team loyalty, and building something that lasts longer than the hype that people get confused about in the city. This is Mathieu Massa from Mr. Hospitality. Let's get into it. This episode of Just a Tip is brought to you by Rooftop Solutions. So the craziest thing happened. You might have even seen it in the news. A restaurant in Wynwood had to shut down for years after a leaky roof caved in. Imagine all that money, time, momentum gone just because the roof wasn't handled right. And that's why I always recommend Rooftop Solutions. They've been protecting homes and businesses all over Miami-Dade and Broward for over 20 years. They're local, based in Hialeah, and they take pride doing the job with honesty and craftsmanship so your roof stands the test of time. And here's the deal. If you got a leak, they will patch it for free while prepping your roof to be replaced. So unless you want to add a lazy river in your dining room, call Rooftop Solutions, tell them Felix sent you. Guys, I am fucking blessed today. Today, I was able to get a revolutionary for the industry. A guy that I've actually looked up to for quite some time. He's really changed the way we do things in Miami Beach in terms of going out and vision and hospitality and the real VIP luxury experience. Many of you have known him, partied with him, had some sort of communication, but there is no denying that this guy right here has changed Miami Beach nightlife forever. From Vita and Bayali to Marion to El Tucan to Queen to Lafayette Steakhouse, this guy has taken visions and concepts and taken them to a whole nother level. Today, I have the one, the only, Mathieu Massa. Thanks, brother. Thank you for coming on, man.
Thank you, Felix, for having me.
Dude, thank you, brother. So, you know, when people talk about the way Miami Beach has become, you know, your name and your venues keep popping up always, you know, but what I want to do is I want to take back the journey and really see how you got here, because you're not a local and somehow you came in, you didn't knock on the door, you fucking kicked it down. And I think that everybody was really surprised, impressed, and just taken back by someone who's not from here that can literally come in and play with all the big boys and change the landscape. So, I mean, how did we get here? I mean, you know, I know that you grew up in the south of France, right?
Yes. So, like I told you before, obviously it's not a one-man show here. Right. So there was a lot of people behind me that really helped me execute the vision. So I don't want to take credit for everything. Obviously, I'm proud of my accomplishment, but it was really a teamwork. So, I mean, to talk about the really beginning, the inspiration came from the city itself. I was really in love with America as a country, coming from France, and very inspired by Miami and Miami Beach. And
what year did you come here first time?
I came here the first time in 2005, and I came really for good in 2007.
So question for you. So, okay, you come down to Miami Beach in 2005. Where did you like to go out? Like where did you draw kind of inspiration? Because I remember for me, I remember it was like Mint that time. It was Opium.
Definitely one of them for sure. There was a few French guys that were running the show, the Million brothers. And obviously that was, and felt very familiar, obviously, with the whole French culture. Most of them, funny enough, coming from the same hometowns, like the south of France as well. So it really felt like home very quickly. And yeah, I mean, it's true that the French people were running the nightlife at the time, for sure.
I remember Laurent was always at the door. Like,
Definitely.
you know, you had the best of the best guys.
Yes.
So you clicked with a lot of those guys instantly, right?
Not really, because I was very shy. I would actually just go as a guest, as a client, and I was just exploring. I didn't. I knew a few people, promoters from the south of France that used to work in Cannes or Saint-Tropez,
Right.
and they allowed me to get in,
Right.
and because I didn't know anybody, and actually have a table. So I really started as a client, to be honest with you.
So how old were you when you used to start partying at Saint-Tropez?
Oh, that was 16 years old.
Me too. I think I remember going to Jimmy's in like
Yes,
Saint-Tropez, and it was
definitely.
like, wow, you know?
Yeah.
So, but like growing up in Cannes, you know, did you party a lot? Did you like go out on the local scene?
For sure. I mean, for me, it was freedom, right?
Right.
Like the first opportunity to explore, meet people, be social, and just have fun, right? So,
Well, it's also a hospitality town, right? I mean,
Yeah.
I remember staying at the Martinez all the time and going out, and it was like, you want to talk about hospitality and having people taken care of. I think Cannes is by far one of the greatest I mean, they know how to take care of people, you know.
yeah, and the what Cannes has for itself is obviously the film festival, right?
Right.
The red carpet,
Right.
which is the second largest and most mediatized event in the world, I think, after the Olympic Games, which
Right.
is insane. So yeah, definitely all the celebrities, all the high-end clients, and I think we have in our culture how to treat people and make them dream.
Right. So now you decided I know that you did your master's in Paris, right?
I did my master, actually. I mean, I did my bachelor in France.
Right.
But then I did my master degree in Babson College in Boston and HEC in Paris. Yes.
Well, we know a lot about Boston here. I'm sure that we both partied a lot of the same places. You know, Venue, Rumor, our boy Igor Blotnik. Saturdays at Venue, and the Thursday was always international nights all over the place. But what did you want to do originally? Was like hospitality in the cards, or?
So during my MBA, I actually came up with my business plan.
Right.
I actually made a decision not to go back to the family business. I could,
Which was, if you don't mind me asking?
in the tire industry.
Okay,
So
nice.
my family was the largest tire distributor in Europe.
Wow.
So we had 300 retail stores all around Europe, and we were doing wholesale and stuff. We still are today. And I could have been the fourth generation, except I was not inspired. I really wanted to do my own things, and America was attractive to me. And I didn't want to be the son of someone. I really wanted to make a name for myself. And so when I graduated from my MBA, after working for 2 years on a business plan, my vision was to benefit from the subprime crisis in 2008 and raise capital in Europe. At the time, the exchange rate between the euro and the dollar was 1.5.
Right.
And the prices, it was easy to see, were so low compared to every other big matured cities. So the vision was very simple, was benefit from the exchange rate, raise capital in Europe, and buy real estate in prime locations. And that was really the business plan back in 2007.
Right. So what were the initial cities? Was Miami always in the cards of like, hey, it's prime for the taking, or were there some other cities that you thought might have been competitors and contenders?
For me, it was always Miami and Miami Beach.
Right.
I bought 20 apartments from David Martin at the 500 Biscayne and also the Quantum on the Bay project. And then I bought a few pieces of land in Miami Beach. And that's really how I started. We also bought with my former partner a condo of a retail store on 15th St. Collins on Ocean Drive over there, which was like a chicken wings place.
That's
so we bought the real estate and rented out to this national tenant and made a profit out of it. So that's really how I started between 2007 and 2009.
So were you mainly aiming for the real estate side or the hospitality side?
I guess, I learned at school real estate and finance, but obviously the hospitality came forward because of the nature of the city, and I was attracted to it. At the time, I was just looking for a tenant.
Right.
And so I found this tenant by luck, and I started to discover the hospitality industry through this experience. And then that's when the opportunity with Vita came in, where I was approached to assist in working in that project.
Right. Who approached you? Do you remember?
So those were the former owners of the Baoli in Cannes that really needed some assistance with running the local operations. And I just had graduated from my MBA. I was doing a lot of real estate deals. I had raised a lot of capital from Europe. And I had a lot of time to offer to work on new projects.
right? So, obviously everybody in the city knows Mr. Hospitality. The name is just synonymous with hospitality, luxury, and, the nightlife scene. Now, again, you came from a place that, you didn't, aside from a few of the locals and, nightclub guys, you didn't really know much. What was your first step in putting together a great team?
Well, first of all, when I started, a team was there.
Right. So you went with the existing...
There was an existing team of great people that were hired and that were working very hard and who knew what they were doing. So I came in really as the back of the house, admin, finance type of guy. And then we, with my partner at the time, took over from the other partners. And that's when we started to tweak and change a few things and followed our intuition and vision. My partner at the time was the former boyfriend of my sister. So there was a real trust going on there and a similar passion for excellence and for a memorable guest experience. And so him and I really worked hands in hands together to turn things around and to build a magical place. And the key was to make people feel special and recognized and to give them a memorable experience. And so it was a combination of many different things. I mean, the space in itself was magical. That's a secret garden in the center of the city that you would explore after going through this very narrow corridor, and then that magical place happening in the middle of nowhere. So the garden, and then we managed to just create something special with the staff, because obviously it's a teamwork. I'll always say it's the servers and the host who make our guests feel special, that really were from the beginning to the end the people in charge of making those people have the best time ever. So we were just giving them the tools for them to execute the vision.
Now, when you came in, was Vita Wednesday already going, or did you come in and kind of did you guys decide when you came in to do the Wednesday?
So My Boyfriend is Out of Town was created by my former partner with a few of the local promoters, including Laurent Bourgade, Eric M., and they had something special going on. But the business in itself was blood and cash.
Right.
So that's when my partner and I, Mika, took over. And that's when we started to really optimize not only sales, but cut on cost and optimize expenses and spend a lot on marketing as well. So that's when things started to turn around. We started to become profitable. And that's after one thing after another, creating special events for Art Basel, where I remember we brought those very upcoming designers from Europe. We would have like a big tank of water, and we would have the ladies like swim in the middle of the night dressed up with their beautiful gowns that we flew in from Europe. And it was like really, we were looking to surprise people, to shock people. And it worked. There was a big buzz on social media. We had
it was a huge buzz on social media.
Yeah, it was really something special going on. We were putting fire everywhere on the on the bars, sparklers.
And also, I remember walking in first time. You walk into a room, it's like it's pretty, this that. But I remember first thing I saw was just how beautiful everybody was, and like it was such a beautiful crowd. And then the minute you go outside, that was it. Magic. It was magic time,
And the furniture was crap.
Right.
The place was crap.
Right.
But there was a magical thing about it that people wanted to dress up and look good and feel special.
And what do you think the competitors, obviously there was a lot of big, you changed it, because before that it was big clubs, big DJs, big nights, and you kind of came in with something different. Did people embrace you? Were people hating on you? What was kind of that feel that you got?
So that was tough, right? I mean, obviously we were disturbing the market. Like the clients, instead of going to the nightclubs afterward, would stay until 3 a.m. partying for like crazy. And so obviously there was the people that were jealous, the people that were coming to trying to take the customers out of us. And we had a lot of competition and a lot of jealous people trying to hurt us by sending code compliance, fire marshals.
I remember fire alarms was a big thing in the promoter world.
For sure. I mean, obviously after that we had the hotel opening next door. So imagine it was a 13 years run.
Right.
We opened.
That's incredible.
So 2009 to 2023, it was a big deal.
Wow.
So during all those 13 years, obviously we created a lot of jealousy and a lot of competition too, because then people started to look at the success and punch and take employees out of us, and then just copying and pasting the same concepts.
I mean, there's definitely been a couple of times where I had promoters come up to me at Bay Alley and like, oh, you know, give me their card and like, hey, you know, if you want us to take care of you, you know, like,
in other places, right?
In other places,
yeah, of
right.
course, yeah.
But you know, but also like the live music, you know, did you realize that? You know, because I think it's really interesting, the whole business model. You're right. It wasn't that, you know, you come in at 11 o'clock, midnight, and you party, and then 2 hours, 3 hours, you go home. You get a whole, the team created a whole evening where you go in for dinner. You want to keep partying, you can party. You give people options. Was there anything like that in Miami? I mean, like, there was the Forge that, you know, transformed and you go next door to Jimmy's. But was there anything really at the time even like the same?
To be honest with you, I don't even know.
Right.
Because I was working every day with my team in the restaurant, and we were sometimes going and looking around, but not too much. We were really focused on what we were doing.
Because I think you can ask anybody and people will tell you the same thing, that I don't remember any place that was like that. And, you know, all of a sudden the lights dim and then the live music comes out and it just, the place is just born on the spot, you know?
One thing, one KPI we were very proud of is how much time people would stay within the venue.
Right.
So the average in a regular restaurant was an hour and a half.
Right.
People would stay 3, 4, 5 hours in our venue, which was insane.
Right.
They would start with a drink outside and go dinner inside and then go party outside and do bottle service. And they would show up at 9:30 and stay until 2, 3 a.m. It was insane.
So let me ask you the financial reasoning behind it. Because, you know, you ask some people and they're like, no, we can't do that because we need to turn over the table in 90 minutes. Was it more about you picking the type of clientele were there? Were you going for the long game in terms of like, well, if they're there and they're going to have a beautiful dinner and they're spending money, they're going to want to keep partying? Was it something like that, or?
First was bar, then dinner, and then bottle service.
Right.
And sometimes customers would want to keep their tables, and sometimes they would want to change the environment just to get a refresh and bring in new guests.
Right.
Also, maybe for a late night dessert and so on. So sometimes they would have dinner inside and then go outside for the bottle service, or so we would accommodate based on their requests. But yeah, that was
any crazy stories from those nights?
So many. I mean,
like, do you remember like what the craziest party you guys ever threw was? Was it that one for Art Basel? Or?
Yeah, I mean, for Art Basel for sure. And then we started to do the day parties.
Right.
On Sundays we would do the brunch. Those were insane.
Right.
So I mean, I have so many amazing memories. I mean, for me, it was about freedom. It was about self-accomplishment. It was about teamwork. Like, it was a family, really. Right. And we were all so proud and so grateful for the opportunity, and to contribute to making those memorable moments to our guests was really rewarding. So, and we were so young. I was 23 years old when I started.
So let me tell you guys something I see all the time. You take over a second gen space, you think it's turnkey, but the second you walk in, it's not exactly what you need. Maybe the bar layout doesn't flow, maybe the kitchen's a little outdated, or the bathrooms look like they haven't been touched since the 90s. That's why I tell all my clients, you need to call Brodson Construction. Whether you're building from the ground up or not, you still need finishing touches done right. Brodson's been local and family run since 1989. They're the top 1% in Florida, and they've handled everything from luxury homes on Star Island to some of Miami's best retail and restaurant spaces like LPM, Cipriani, Hillstone, Bell Harbor, just to name a few. Bottom line, don't settle for nickel and dime contractors who might underbid the work to win the job up front and screw you over in the end. Brodson maintains integrity every step of the process to build enduring relationships and never exploit clients. So remember, if you're going to build, call Brodson Construction. What did your family say at the time? Like, just, you know, they
got scared. I mean, my dad for sure, my mother. I mean, when they saw, first of all, that I decided to go to the US, Miami.
They thought maybe you were going to get lost in that world, right?
And then the hospitality. I mean, everybody knows all the scenes that you can find, right? Drugs, like girls,
like after hours,
So I guess I had strong basis of education and good values that, obviously, I always had my head on my shoulders, and I always had my vision that I wanted to accomplish. So I never really. I did got big-headed at some point, for sure, to be honest with you.
It's hard not to.
I did think at some point I was above others, and my ego kicked in, and for sure I regret those times because looking back, it really created a lot of. I made a lot of mistakes in my relationships, but I'm human, right? So and my friends were humans too, and my partners and my employees. So we all now have great relationship, but for sure it got into our head at some point. And
well, you know, I mean, like even partnerships back then, you know, I mean, for people that are getting into the business, into nightclubs and restaurants, you know, how important is it to pick a partner? And because I always tell people it's a marriage.
Definitely is.
Yeah.
It's definitely like a marriage. I mean, in the end of the day, you are going to war with that person, and when you have conflict, you have to basically admit your mistakes and be vulnerable, and the wisdom and the experience doesn't come naturally, right? You have to make those mistakes to look back, and you have to get hurt.
Right.
You have to really suffer. You have to really feel the pain and get into the dark, and cost you a great deal in terms of everything you can think of, to look back and with all humility realize your mistakes,
right,
and have gratitude for the lessons learned, and forgive others for the lessons you've learned, even if they were your enemies at the time, and forgive yourself,
right?
Because we're human and we make mistakes.
Well, you know, I'm sure that you're a believer like me when, you know, people that poached your staff or were competitors, they're like, it's not personal, it's just business. You know, for me, somebody like me, for me, business is personal. You know, were you that same way, or did you kind of learn to kind of get over it?
I was very naive.
Yep.
I was the nice guy for a long time. I did have to be more firm with my competition. I'm sad the way the industry turned out after COVID, where everybody was stealing employees to each other, and there was no more integrity whatsoever. And it didn't really ever come back, to be honest with you.
Right.
And that's the sad part, I feel, of the hospitality industry, how everybody keeps stealing employees to each other and hurt each other with the customers. That's not my core value.
Right.
So when you have, respect and integrity as your core values, it's hard to not fight back.
Right.
I mean, then there is obviously karma that I always think about. In the end of the day, what matters to me, and I'm not the same guy I am today than I was 15 years ago, obviously. The most important to me is my peace and my family, my friends. Obviously, I take my business very seriously, but I try to filter now the people I deal with, I talk to, and most importantly, the employees I attract to my business. They have to have personal core values that align with my company's core values.
Right. So I definitely want to touch COVID and like the lockdown and how it affected you. But from Beali, okay, so now you take this Italian restaurant, you turn it into a megapolis of just a party. So now it's a success. Where do you go from there?
So we got approached by every single real estate developer in town to open a place in
that sounds right,
in their new project. And the people who did the great job to flat our egos got us to sign the deal.
That's usually the ones that do it,
And
right?
that was exactly at the time when I was big-headed and we thought we were the kings of the world and we could revolutionize
too big to fail.
Everything.
Right.
Too big to fail, exactly.
Right.
And that's when we actually moved to the Brickell location when we opened Marion and Tucan. And I think we did some great stuff.
Great stuff. I again, you know, you doubled down and you revolutionized again. I mean, I know everybody watching remembers Marion and El Tucan. I remember Thursdays at Marion. It was okay. So now you have a Wednesday Beali, hottest night in Miami. You have Thursdays at Marion, one of the hottest nights in Miami, period. And then Saturday at El Tucan. I remember I used to love Saturday El Tucan. And it was just, and everything was so different. It was the same, but it was different, you know? Yeah. Where it wasn't the same type of party that you were just creating. You were creating different experiences everywhere.
I guess what I'm the most proud of is the environment we were able to create.
Right.
By creating a brand, creating a vision, the decor, the entertainment, right. the employees, the servers, the energy of the room, right? So And I always, because that's all I know,
Right.
did luxury. So I really wanted to do luxury and provide something of quality. I wanted to be reasonable with pricing, but I still had to charge a price because
Right.
I really wanted luxury. That's really the only thing I know how to do.
Right. But even for the people that want to come and experience luxury, you know, usually people know that whatever's working, you got to keep replicating it. Where you had the Wednesday and now the Thursday was something, it was similar, but it was something completely different.
Quiet luxury,
Right.
and consistency and dealing and basically being loyal to our customers. I'm very proud of all the events we've done at those three venues. I mean, we were talking earlier about bringing the Tropicana from Havana for the first time in history.
And I need you to tell that story because, first of all, that's like world history because that's never been done before.
No.
So I think it was 2016, right?
Yeah, New Year's Eve.
I would love for you to tell the story.
Obama started to negotiate diplomatic
Status, right?
Status with Cuba, and the customs were open, and some of my employees at the time had local political connections, and we flew in there and met with the heads of Tropicana, which was the equivalent of Moulin Rouge in Paris, right? So we managed to get 16 visas of the top performers, like those beautiful female dancers.
Right.
And all of them showed up in Miami.
Right.
First time in history. They had never traveled anywhere in the world.
What was that experience like for them?
It was life-changing. Can you imagine? First time getting out of their country, coming to America in Miami and performing at El Tucan. I mean, I was super proud.
Right.
And I remember this whole crew because it was 16 artists, but there was like 16 of coordinators. So it was a whole crew of 30 people.
Right.
And that night at El Tucan was magical. The New York Times covered the event. I mean, it was international press and recognition. And I was super proud to be at the origin of that. Again, it was a teamwork, my team and I, but we were super proud of bringing that to Miami. Considering the local population from Cuba, they had never had an opportunity to actually meet the what was magical from their country.
And what was their reaction like performing the first night?
I mean, those female dancers, even those males. I mean, they're so poetic, so passionate, so ambitious. It was magical. The energy that you could feel in the room, just stepping into the room. You had 150 very privileged guests,
right?
And 20 artists. It was history.
And what was the street credit you got out of that? What I mean by is like, what was the I know that you were probably, you were taking in their energy. And then like, I was one of those people when I used to promote, the next day I would have to, 9, 10 a.m. I need to start calling everybody to see, what people thought. And like, what was, what did they like? What did they didn't like? What was the reaction you got after that first night?
A lot of emotions.
Right.
A lot of emotions from the local Cuban community who said thank you to a French guy who was able to bring their culture to their home country in America. And the night off, a lot of tears, a lot of bringing history to Miami. And I could tell that those people have lived something very heavy emotionally, and I was able to contribute in my own way by bringing to something special. And so obviously there was also the haters that thought it was a bad idea.
We love you, haters.
But you can't please everybody. I was proud of what I did. My team was proud, and if I had to go back and do it again, I would do it again for sure.
Now that you're growing, and now you have, Baoli, now you have Marion, now you have El Tucan. We
don't have Baoli anymore, right? We gave it back in 2023.
Oh, wait, but what year was... No, I'm talking about back when you guys opened Marion, El Tucan, when you had this night after night after night.
Yeah, of course.
But how did you and your team also... Now you're growing multiple places. How are you managing staff? How are you managing the concept? Because you guys were on and you had some of the most successful nights in Miami.
Okay, so one chance we had was the ability to sponsor Europeans, and more specifically French, passionate hospitality people from France to come work in the US. And that was a big game changer and a big competitive advantage for us, because Europe and the young Europeans have hospitality as part of their culture.
Right.
Think about Turkey, Greece, Italy, France.
All very big service. It's all about service there.
It's all about tourism. It's all about service. It's all about human connections.
Right.
And so for me to be able to attract very ambitious young individuals to teach the locals and the Americans to make memorable experiences for the guest was game changer. And that was really helpful.
Well, I remember, back in the day, a lot of people who come visit Miami complain, oh, well, for the prices that some of these restaurants and nightclubs charge, they don't know anything about service. I know that Europeans are very big on service. Like you said, Turkish, French, Italian, I think when a lot of those people transitioned into Miami, it really picked up the whole service industry. Did you have to deal with, when you came into the industry, like, what the fuck is this? Like, some of these people, how are we paying them this money? And like, they don't know what they're doing. And like, we got to bring in our own people. Like,
for me, the biggest challenge was the lack of common sense.
Right.
The lack of common sense, the lack of taking initiatives, the lack of creativity, the lack of, I saw how people were waiting for directions and leadership, and they were just acting like robots.
Right.
And the ability to recruit managers and leaders who could differentiate from those people to the people who... I'd rather hire someone that has no experience, but has the human touch, the social skills and the common sense and the ability to take initiatives and train them and coach them, rather than having someone who knows everything already but basically doesn't understand what they're doing. Is it that maybe
do you feel that maybe some of those people didn't, they didn't have pride in their craft? Maybe some people were doing it as a part-time job, or, that they just didn't care if they did a good job or not?
Of course, that's the main difference with Europe. In Europe, it's your career.
Right.
And you take it very seriously.
Right. And so now that you have you and the team, now now everybody knows Mr. Hospitality, but at the same time, I definitely want to touch COVID first, but I definitely want to get back to 21, 22, 23, because you also started branching out and doing some crazy real estate deals. But before I do that, I want to ask you, okay, now you have 3 successful nights. All of a sudden, we're all in Miami. 2019 was phenomenal. Super Bowl was here. Everybody was making a ton of money. All of a sudden, end of 2019, we start hearing rumors about COVID and, this disease that's going down. All of a sudden, we go into lockdown. What were your first, thoughts of when the city told you you're going to have to close all your places? What were the first things that came into your mind?
The first thing that came into my mind were my employees.
Right.
They were living paycheck by paycheck. And one of the hardest things I had to do in my life was to actually sit down with every single one of them and let them go. That was heartbreaking. I mean, I have goosebumps just talking about it. I hated myself for doing that. And I took ownership and responsibility for what was happening, even though I was not responsible, but I was their employer. They trusted me. Most of them had been working for me and my company for 10 years.
Right.
So going through the process of letting them go and talking to them was very hard and painful, but it was also an opportunity for me to reflect. That's when I was also faced with partnership challenges, challenges with the landlord, and I started to dig deep into my soul to try to understand some of my childhood traumas that made me make certain decisions, to better understand what really contributed to those bad mistakes, so I could go back, resolve what happened, understand what happened, and basically change how I was conducting myself, how I was thinking, how I was dealing with others. And I really came out of this also becoming a father as a different person.
Right.
And so when I rehired everybody back, and the business was so good. It was definitely a new chapter of my life where I started to have more gratitude for what had happened to me. And those were some of the best years afterwards.
A lot of you know me from my F&B Miami page, but what you might not know is that I also run Florida's largest restaurant real estate brokerage called F&B Hospitality. Every week I meet somebody that thought that they could just wing it on a restaurant lease. And every week on F&B Miami, you guys see how that turns out. And that is exactly why I started F&B Hospitality Brokerage. We treat our clients' money like it's our money. We don't say things just to say it or paint pretty little pictures. We go based on facts and numbers. If we don't like a deal, location, or permit status, we are absolutely not afraid to tell you. It's about setting you up to last. So you could focus on food and foodies while we negotiate the build out and the terms.
Well, I mean, COVID was obviously shake up, and, you know, we talk about poaching, and even on the show, we always talk about, like, you know, I remember Major Food Group coming in 2020. It was like lions picking off lamb. You know, they went after the best. They went after, you know, the GMs that maybe were sitting home and like locking everybody up and making them waiters. And because they're like, who's going to give you the best type of hospitality, you know, and kudos to them for doing that. When lockdown and that whole thing, is that when you know, were you one of those people that realized who was with you and loyal, and who kind of like, you know, everything is great when you're on top, but, you know, at that first sign of like struggle, you know, were you surprised? Were you confident that everybody was going to stick around? Like, what did you go through at that point in time?
I had to deal with a lot of key employees leaving, and they left, and I first took it personal and felt hurt, but I realized that the COVID triggered a lot of things in them, that they wanted to change industries, and they wanted to go on their own. And I had no choice but to respect that and give them my support. So that's what we did. As far as competition, that's true. Like I said before, we were all fighting with each other. I didn't have any issues with Major Food Group in particular. Actually, Jeff did the bar mitzvah of his daughter at Queen last year, and we have a great relationship. But it's true that some other groups were coming after us. And remember, all the nightclubs were shut down.
Right.
And so we were the only one that could offer entertainment and parties. So the staff was making good money, but we did lose quite a few key employees that for them, the time they had to reflect on who they are and what they want in life made them leave this industry, which was hard. But
well, also, I think also at that time, people started copying you, you know, like I think, you know, and listen, you know, today Mila is the top grossing restaurant in the country. But, you know, at the same time, I think that them and many others saw the direction that you were going, and they knew that that was the right direction. So they started, you know, maybe imitating, and then maybe like, you know, somebody like them, you know, I know that I don't think Dave ever really went after, I mean, right? Or
no,
like Swan was really like,
and even RDG, they really didn't copy anything. They didn't have to. I mean, Greg, the founder of RDG, had so many years of great experience back then with Fig and Olive, and he learned the hard way.
Oh, I didn't realize. So he worked with Todd English, Fig and Olive, right?
Not sure.
Okay.
Not sure, but he learned he started when I started. And by the way, we grew up together, going to the same high school and same university. And I have a lot of respect for what he and his team have done today. And the success they have, they deserve it, and they didn't steal from anybody, and for sure not from me. But and I'm very proud of what they've been able to accomplish.
100%.
And
I think they changed the game.
I think it's great for the city. It's great for the French people who are in the hospitality. I'm very proud because most of them are French, and look, they've done it in such a short period of time. I mean, respect,
100%.
Really respect for sure. And we help each other now. We have a great relationship. Mika, who now works there, who was my former partner.
Mika's been with you since pretty much the beginning, right?
Yeah, he was with my sister for many years. We started together. he was the one who knew hospitality.
Right.
I didn't know anything
Right.
in the hospitality.
And he knew how to save money too. I remember like, cause when we had my biodiesel company, I remember Mika calling me like, hey, listen, I need grease trap guys at like 3:00 in the morning. Like if it wasn't like either you do it or I'm finding somebody else. Like he was very,
we went from losing money to profitability,
Right.
large part thanks to him.
Right.
And him and others, and that plus the customer relationships. I mean, he was definitely a big part of the success of RDG, along with others. And look, I'm proud that I was part of this dynamic,
Right.
part of those years of Miami Beach, the hospitality, and I think we have a lot of more things to write in the future of hospitality in general. And I'm glad that we all have a great relationship, and that's the type of relationship I'm looking for, because there are others that just keep taking without asking and with no integrity and no respect, and that hurts me. I mean, like I said, karma. My priority right now is my family,
Right.
my inside peace.
Yep.
I have lucky enough all the real estate projects I work on, and so I'm just happy for everything that has happened to me so far. But yeah, going back to what you were saying, competition was tough.
Right. But, I mean, we could all be honest. I've seen, whether it was French or Italian, in the last couple of years, when they saw how much money everybody was making, whether it was you or Major Food Group or Mila, like, they're like, oh, Miami's easy. We'll come into the market and we'll show everybody how it's done. I mean, I've seen a ton of those people lose a ton of money and never even opened. I mean, like, permitting and, knowing the industry, how much of that was a rude awakening for you, let alone, people going into it really not knowing anything?
So for 17 years of being in the industry, I saw, like you, a lot of people with big ambitions, a little bit pretentious,
Right.
failing. And it was humbling to see them fail, because the amount of money they were putting in their projects were
Insane.
scary. And so, and look, they were not stupid people either.
Right.
I mean, they did their best, and I thought they did great job for some of them. And I just felt grateful that I didn't have, don't get me wrong, I've made a ton of mistakes.
Right.
And lost a ton of money on many different occasions. I mean, people see from the outside and feel like everything looks amazing and I'm
Right.
super successful. Don't get me wrong, I've lost a ton of money and learned the hard way, learned my lessons. Luckily, there were better decisions than bad decisions, but it's one of the toughest industry in the world. I mean,
Right.
come on, you have to be on top of your game every single day. The amount of work is brutal. The dealing with employees, dealing with customers, and every single day is a marathon that never ends.
Right.
So it's a tough industry, and look, the profit margins that used to be there are not here anymore. So you have to really focus on guest relationships and making sure your guests come back, because that's the only KPI that matters, right?
So how do you keep reinventing yourself? What is the formula? Like you said, 2019, it was the crypto money and it was everything, but yet you still managed to perform and exceed expectations with your product every single time because you keep evolving. But how, in a climate where it's getting really tough, do you still stay relevant and keep moving forward?
So we've tried to stay on top of things. Obviously, some of our businesses have suffered. We've made some bad decisions. But I guess what allowed us to always come back is the selection of employees that understand the human relationships and the relationships with our VIPs and guests.
So, but you took the VIP relationship and you kept going, where maybe at that point you might want to back off. You kept going. Not only did you keep going, you built out one of the most incredible rooms in Miami Beach history when you took down Queen. So it was what, the Babylon Theater back then?
So no, it's called the Paris Theater.
The Paris Theater, sorry.
And
the
it
Paris
was
Theater.
the nightclub. What was it? The R&B.
Right, it was a hip hop club.
Nightclub. The name is.
It's slipping me, but like
slipping me too. But yeah, so the vision there was simple. I mean, to me, I first fell in love with the space. I mean, the Art Deco history, the volume, the fact that there is no column in that huge space. I felt, and I took my wife, she was pregnant at the time, and we both felt emotional. That was in the middle of COVID. Every single restaurant in the world were shut down. And my banks, because I was able to execute this project only with the bank and no investors, told me I was crazy, but they still backed me up, and I'm grateful and lucky for that.
But what did you see that nobody saw at that moment in that room? You know, obviously the room is incredible, but with so much uncertainty, because you bought the real estate, right?
Yeah, the intuition was the market was going to come back.
Right.
The people were going to be able to go out again. And if they were going to go hard.
Right.
And so I wanted to be ready. First Horizon and my banker, Jaime Ortega, really, I will always be grateful. He was supportive of my project, believed in me and supported me. And he gave me the loan to acquire the real estate and to build the whole thing. Again, it took 3 years to build.
How long did you think it was going to take?
I knew it was going to take 2.
Okay. Because for somebody who's like, oh, well, you have a place that's kind of already ready, but we all know.
Well, there was no grease trap. There was no kitchen. There was, we converted the offices into private dining rooms. We created the omakase in the former offices. We had to build an extension of the envelope of the building. And luckily, with Massa Construction Group, I was able to build a lot of residential and commercial projects over the years. So I knew what I was doing. And the city was supportive, to be honest with you. They were super happy to see a hip-hop nightclub turn into a high-end, glamorous Japanese steakhouse. So I did get their support, but it took a little bit more money and time than expected, for sure.
So for people that say, oh, I could probably get that done in a year because it's already an existing place, what would you say for those type of people?
Well, be careful what you're getting into, for sure. I mean, now they should know. I mean, unless they really don't want to do the proper due diligence, anybody they ask, I mean, everybody knows how time-consuming and expensive the build-out is. So I would tell them just surround yourself with quality GCs and architects that know what they're doing, and double the budget and double the timeline.
Look, as a business owner, I'll be real with you. Running my brokerage takes all my time. And in Miami, if you're not showing up online or on social media, you just don't exist. That's why I've worked with Sage Marketing Studios from the very beginning. Website, social, even this podcast. They're the ones behind the camera. Building strategy, keeping it consistent, and making sure my brand looks like it actually belongs in the city. So just a tip. Stop having your cousin post blurry iPhone pics once every 3 months. Hit up Sage Marketing Studios. You can find them on Instagram at socialmedia.sage and tell them Felix sent you.
So speaking of the budget, so I remember even when this project was going, because, we all gossip, we all talk, and, we hear about this, Queen project. And, first we're like, oh, $5 million renovation, then a $6 million renovation, then $7 million renovation, then $10 million. And then the number just starts going up. What was that final number, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm not going to disclose.
But it was a big number.
It was double what I expected.
Got it.
And so, looking back, and by the way, if it were for today, it would be it would be double what it used to be.
Right.
What it was, sorry.
Because building now is double what it was a couple of years ago.
Correct.
Right.
Inflation had not kicked in at the time yet.
Right.
Remember, we were in 2020, 2021.
Yeah, interest rates were great.
So if I were to rebuild it today, it would be double what I spent. Wow. And would not make sense financially either. So no, I'm proud of what we were able to accomplish. We did get something I'm very proud of, the award of the most beautiful venue in the country.
As you deserve it.
In 2023, for sure, I'm glad of that. When I look at the reviews every week, the food, the entertainment, the customer service is something I'm very proud of, because we've managed to keep that. And by the way, the challenge of Queen was to get credibility for the culinary experience.
Right.
And even though we made a few mistakes at the beginning, we managed to turn things around and really establish, especially through the omakase. I have an amazing Chef Max and Chef Christopher, that are doing an amazing job in the culinary program. And I'm proud that a lot of people come for the food. I mean, obviously, it's a spectacular venue, but a lot of people come at 6, 7 p.m. to enjoy the dining experience. And that's, to me, is key, because I've learned the hard way with my venues, Baoli, Marion, El Tucan, that the risk is for people to only come on the weekends to party.
Right.
And that doesn't pay the bills.
Right. And so what was the grand opening? I mean, I've had friends that went to the grand opening and they told me, Felix, you've never seen like anything like this before. I also know that like at the time, you know, staff wise, you also brought in some of the best, from the door people to the entertainers to servers. I mean, Queen really came in aggressive at the time.
I mean, when we spent so much money on the build out, we didn't want to make
You're not going to cheap out.
We didn't want to we cut corners and be cheap on the staff. We know the staff is the key. So yes, we recruited the best VIP host, Richard Chemonique at the time, really helped the business to take off. And I'm very proud I was able to do that. And all the others, I mean, Thomas Guillaume, who's been with me for 10 years, has done a tremendous work. He used to be at T. Saint-Bart in Saint-Barthélemy, dealing with all the super crazy VIPs and businessmen and celebrities. And he's been with me for 10 years. I mean, I'm very proud with the longevity I was able to keep all my employees. Like I have people in the kitchens for 15 years, right. 16 years. Every year we give rewards to the... So I have maybe 12, 15 people that have been with me more than 10 years. And that to me is really something that I take personal. Right. That to me means a lot. Like the family environment I was able to create with the company's core values is what I'm very proud of. And it's true, when I make mistakes and the business suffers and they suffer, I take full responsibility for that and I want to correct. And that's really the drive. When you were asking me before, what is it that it takes? It takes the realization that it's not a one-man show.
Right.
We have 250 employees that I'm responsible for. So when you take into account their respective families, I have a responsibility. And providing a safe and respectful work environment to me is key.
Right.
And feeling them motivated and allowing them to grow is key to me. And that's what I want to offer.
Right. So now 23, you have a daughter, right?
Yes.
Daughter was born in 23?
She was born in 2020, actually.
In 2020, yeah. Got it. So your wife had already given birth. So now it's 23. You have the Queen grand opening. Everybody in Miami knows about the real estate deal you did in 23, right? The residential deal.
Yes.
And that was like a record breaker, right?
So yeah, I bought the land of that residential property in 2013.
Right.
Took me 4 years to build, and then I rented that house over the years. And the mistake I've made with my other real estate development in the residential industry was that I sold them too early before COVID.
Right.
But that one, which was the most expensive one, I kept and I rented out. And luckily, it doubled in value. So yeah, we sold it for a record high price in 2023. That helped a lot.
So 23 was a busy year for you.
Yes, it was a good year for sure, yeah.
And so, okay, now you have Queen.
Which helped me pay the bills of Queen,
right?
By the way.
Right. So what do you see for the future of your company? Like what direction, like you've accomplished so much in Miami and, you know, you've obviously gotten all the respect of your peers. But what's next? Like, where do you go from here? Do you sit and tweak of like what you have? Are you going to be opening new projects? Like where do you see?
So I've been approached by investors and partners for the past 15 years. Right. And I've always, my company is a family business. Right. It's just my wife and I. And so I've always picked my project very precisely. But I guess for the next chapter, I'm going to be open to doing strategic partnerships and alliances and raising capital from investors. I'm missing a lot the residential development, luxury homes. I'm being approached to work on some hotel projects or large residential developments that have a commercial and hospitality component. I was approached to open Queen in Vegas and Dubai. I mean, I'm still exploring. My wife is pregnant with my second daughter, so I'm going to take... Thank you. I'm going to take my time to really identify what's the right move for me. But for sure, it's going to have something to do with spirituality. I've actually, after losing my mother and going through a few tough times, reconnected with a deeper side of myself that I forgot about. And I'm now really picking the project and the people being very selective.
Right.
My time is my most valuable asset.
You don't get it back, right?
No, my energy, my peace. And so I'm not as ambitious as I used to be.
Right.
I learned the hard way. I got kicked in the face quite a few times. I still want to contribute and make a difference and support my employees, my team, my customers. But I'm going to be selective. So what the future is about, I know it's going to be surprising. I know it's going to be ambitious, but it needs to have an impact, a positive impact on the community, on my family, on my legacy. And I want to give back.
Right.
That's the thing that gives me the most pleasure today, is to give back to the young generation. Right. I want to be an inspiration. I want to be a leader that my daughters are going to be proud of. And I love this country. I love my industry. I love what I do. I love myself, which I've learned to do recently. Yep. And I want to have a few ideas. And I know it's going to be big and rewarding for me.
I mean, I'm super excited. I can't wait what you have in store. Have you found that inner peace?
Yes, I have. Okay. And it feels good.
Yeah.
And I'm fighting to keep it.
And, it's Miami, so you never know how long you're going to keep it for. What do you think the scene of Miami looks like in a couple of years, in your opinion?
I'm hopeful.
Yeah.
I think we have a lot of very established quality hospitality groups that are doing an amazing job. I'm very proud of knowing them, most of them, and I think they're gonna keep growing their respective companies. I think the landscape of the city and the real estate, the hospitality in general, is gonna keep flourishing. We know and we see all those new permits and new developments going up. I think Miami is, to me, the best city in the world.
100%.
And I think there is still growth. When you look at the price per square foot in other big cities like Tokyo, Monte Carlo, Saint-Tropez, I think we still have some room to grow.
How important is it to be your own landlord now, as opposed to renting for those insane $200-$300 a foot numbers?
Peace of mind, protecting my goodwill, protecting my future. And I'd rather be the captain on a small boat than just one of many in a larger boat. So that was just a personal decision. I mean, I learned the hard way with Baoli. I lost after 13 years. Yes, I'm grateful, but still because of the greed of the landlord. Right. And so he basically wanted to take over the business and be a hospitality guy. And
isn't it funny that they all of a sudden become hospitality guys and tell you what you need to do with your business?
He became my biggest teacher.
Right.
Because
right.
I had so much anger
right.
and rage that now I'm grateful. But yeah, I mean, in the end of the day, when I look back, I mean, like karma, right?
Right.
What comes around, what goes around comes around. I'm not sure how you say it in America.
What goes around comes around, absolutely.
Exactly. Yep. So let them be. And yeah, real estate, I think, is important. Even though it's not the most important, there are many successful hospitality companies that don't have the real estate, but it's secondary because they're looking at other KPIs, right. And I respect that too. It's just a personal decision.
You think supper clubs is the new big club? Do you think in a couple of years we go back to the big clubs? Because, I mean, it always changes. I mean, back in the day, it was the small lounges, then the big clubs, then the supper clubs. Do you think supper clubs are here to stay?
I think they are. I don't think pure nightclubs are going to come back. My personal opinion.
Right.
I think music festivals. I think the Palm Tree Crew.
A great job. They're doing a great job.
They're doing great.
Absolutely.
Miles is actually my neighbor, and I have a lot of respect for him and his partners. I think they've done an amazing job recently, and I think that's the future. Super clubs, day clubs, beach clubs. I mean, can you imagine when you look at Saint-Tropez and Mykonos? We don't have any day clubs.
Why is that? I mean, we had Nikki Beach once upon a time.
Because the configuration of the land,
right?
It's not ideal for,
right?
And that doesn't mean it can't be done, right? But you have to take into account, obviously, the noise ordinance. I mean, there is definitely room. I mean, for sure. I know the former Nikki Beach space is going to be exceptional.
Right.
I think Jeff and his partners from Major Food Group are
Yep.
going to do a great project there. But obviously, the noise constraints.
Right.
I don't know how that's going to work out, which is going to be good because it's going to be more for the families and the older crowd that don't want a crazy hardcore party like you
Right.
can find in Mykonos or Saint-Tropez. Hopefully some people will find spaces that they can offer that because there is a demand for sure.
Right. Well, I mean, listen, you got the Boucher brothers that own the chairs, and then you have like you said, the noise completely, and it's really sad because I mean, we live in Miami Beach, and it should be the mecca of daytime parties and day clubs because everybody wants it, you know. I mean, listen, I hope they get it. You know, that's it'll help a lot of the businesses. It'll help bring Miami Beach back to its glory day, and yeah, I mean, and then what about music? Like, do you feel music's changed for the better, for the worse, just different? Like, what do you like for your type of places? Because you know, I know in your parties it was very mixed, and that's what I loved about it. But it was always brought energy, you know.
Well, for us, I mean, we had to go with the trends, and obviously, um, new disco, Afrobeat,
Right.
and sexy music obviously has been the trend over the past 7 years now. And so I think this is going to keep going that way. Obviously, we have to adapt to the new generation, right? Where they drink less alcohol,
Right.
they're more into spirituality, more about
Wellness, right?
wellness,
Right.
astrology, and giving back, and things that are more meaningful. And they're vibrating in a different way than we are, and we need to pay attention to those things. And I think music is definitely one of the biggest drivers. So we have
100%.
to pay attention to them. I mean, they're the ones that are in our venues also. They're a big trench of the market. They're a big niche market that we need to pay attention to because they're gonna evolve and grow up and become more and more recurring customers. So yeah, I think the music industry is definitely something that we are all paying a lot of attention to adapt ourselves.
Right. Do you think that the days of the big DJs has gone where, you know, I remember I used to love like, you know, European DJs coming in. I remember DJ like Dimitri from Paris, and I remember all the Ministry of Sound DJs, and it was such a special time. Is it still make financial sense to bring big DJs in, or is it we have so much talent now with local DJs and the vibe and scene?
It depends on your concept,
Right.
depends on your niche, depends on your programming, depends on your customers, depends on your location.
Right.
I mean, I think we all need to look into those opportunities, and we are, and I am for sure. There is definitely, when you look at some of the biggest success stories, I can think of David Barocas with La Guérite in Cannes and in Saint-Barth. I mean,
Right.
booking some of the biggest DJs is definitely working for him. And that's another one that was a big inspiration for me growing up in the same hometown in Cannes. He's actually the older brother of my best friend.
Oh.
So I look up to him and to many others who managed to use the trends of the DJs. And I think this is still more than ever alive, for
Right.
sure. I mean, my understanding is the New Year's Eve at Saint-Barth this year broke all the records in history. This is for a reason, and the DJs are a big part of that.
Right. But nobody could get out afterwards. Everybody speaks to it. They're like, oh, yeah, we're stuck here, which nobody was upset about. But
yeah, it was a big deal. I mean, for sure, the most influential people in the world, the most powerful people go to Saint-Barth, which I'm proud of because of it's a French island,
Yep.
which is the closest way for me to go back to my country from here.
Yep.
Love going there to visit the pharmacies, to buy all the product I grew up with. But no, it's such a laid back. And what I love about Saint-Barth is the quiet luxury.
Right.
And that's what the French, with all the famous brands, like the fashion brands, when you look at Hermès and all this, the quiet luxury is the beauty. And this is the new trend, right? And so I'm very proud of what all the French people do in Saint-Barth and for the hospitality community. And I think the DJs are not going to disappear anytime soon.
I don't know if you see the same thing I do in like Saint-Barth. It's the wealth there is not loud. the wealth there is very quiet and unassuming. Miami, maybe it's a little loud and obnoxious, but in St. Bart's, it's very like you could be sitting partying next to a billionaire right next to you. You'll never know because they're just so kind of under the table.
Yeah. And you can find that too, I think, in Saint-Tropez in some ways a little bit, and maybe Mykonos, but definitely St. Barts is the billionaires. They still compete with their ego, with their yachts.
You cannot not compete, right?
For sure. But they like to be treated like the regular person.
Right.
And I think the French are very good at connecting in a very friendly way without losing the respect that the customers deserve. So there is that very human connection where the French server is going to allow the American spender to connect on a friendship level, but never forget who is the client.
Right. So when you I know that you're more of the dad and you take it down a little more, but when you do get a chance to party, what are some of your favorite places in the world to party in?
I mean,
or who do you think is doing it right? Like you look at somebody and you're like, that guy's doing it right, or like that guy is the future, or that guy is.
La Guérite, David Barocas. He really does a great job with the quiet luxury and the day clubs. I mean, a lot of beach club operators in Saint-Tropez are doing an amazing job. I prefer day party now.
I like to sleep at night.
Yes, day party for sure. My wife can enjoy it with me, with my friends, and I think those are the best destinations for sure today.
Yep. My brother, this has been a pleasure. I am very excited to see what you have in store for us in the next coming years, but I know that anything you do is going to be different. And thank you for bringing you and your team, bringing your creativity and creating new worlds and new experiences for us. But before you go, because I gotta ask, I know that you're a foodie, and I could appreciate that. So for people watching, let me know, what are your top 5? Let's go with sushi. What are your top 5 sushi restaurants in Miami?
So I'm going to give you my top 5 regular restaurants because I have not been going out that much lately.
You know what? Thank you for the honesty.
Working so hard on my restaurant.
All right, so give me your top 5 restaurants in Miami.
The places I go with my wife and my daughter right now are Mandolin.
Mandolin, great one. Design District,
We go...
what are some of the things you like there? What do you like about it?
Everything.
Right.
I love everything. I mean, we always change,
right?
And there is no disappointment.
Right.
The other place I like to go is Casa Tua Cucina.
Casa Tua.
Never disappointed.
I'm very excited. I'm actually excited for the new Wynwood one. I'm excited for the new Cucina going into the Nomad. It's gonna be nice.
That too. When we want a good burger, we love Le Rond. In South of Fifth, which is surprisingly good. I mean, we order from where do we order from? I'm blanking now.
That's okay.
I mean, we go to Hayakawa. We used to go a
Hayakawa's
lot,
great,
for sure. And
Alvaro always doing a good job there.
Alvaro is amazing. I have a lot of respect for him. And we went to his new Michelin star restaurant,
Ogawa,
which was amazing.
In the Little River,
as well. Yeah, for sure. And then recently I was invited by my friends at Riviera Dining, and I have to say I was impressed. Claudie was amazing. Casaneos was great. I haven't been able to go to Ava, but I hear amazing feedback.
Yeah, we sold that one to them.
You did?
Yeah.
Okay, nice. Congratulations.
They did a good job. Yeah. They did a beautiful job. They spent a long time building that one out. But I'm sure, listen, everything they do is great. They got a good team.
And that's pretty much it. I don't go out too much.
Right. But I love it. But you do love to create. It's funny that you don't like to go out, but everything you create enjoys everybody. Everybody else enjoys what you created.
Thank you. It's made with love and passion.
And shout out to your whole team and Mr. Hospitality for doing everything and keeping it local and creating an amazing scene in Miami for the last, what is it now? Like
17 years.
17 years, man. Great job, man. And really look forward to everything you have coming. And one other thing we didn't talk about, Lafayette Steakhouse.
Yes.
Dude, everybody's been talking about it. I've been, going on the street interviewing people and, what their favorite restaurant was. And everybody's saying Lafayette Steakhouse.
Thank you for bringing it up. It's really definitely one of the projects I'm the most proud of. It really represents who I am today, more mature, more down to earth, looking at the human relationships, less music, less entertainment. And I'm very proud of the decor and the food. I mean, when I look at the customer reviews online and when I talk to guests, they're all regulars. I wish we would have more volume, to be honest with you. We have to work on marketing and understand how we can get more people in. But the feedback and the returning guest is amazing. So I'm glad you bring it up because
What are some of your favorite things there?
Oh, the filet mignon, the ribeye. I mean,
What are your favorite sides? You like sides?
By the way, the au poivre sauce is a killer for sure. The cream corn is a great side.
People have been talking about the cream corn.
Yes, big time. And so, I mean, it's a very small menu, and we've been able to improve it a lot. And I'm so happy with the local support. And I'm glad you bring it up. Thank you.
No, I everybody who I speak to is raving about it. So, if you have a chance, check out Lafayette Steakhouse. I know that I'll be there all the time. So come join me and we'll make a night of it. Brother, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
It was a pleasure, bro. We got to do this again sometime.
With pleasure, anytime.
And again, thank you for everything you do for our community. And thank you for, Mr. Hospitality raising the bar for luxury and hospitality in Miami, man.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
That's it, brother. It was a pleasure.
Thank you.
Later, guys.